trained by DPI, where they came around, I think I met them around 2022, 2022, where they visited us in Kabare. For that time, I was at campus. So they trained us in different digital security measures where you can use strong passwords. If you hacked, what can you do? How do you see that you're hacked? How do you know the fake link? So that I was like, I would retrieve my account instead of creating a new one. So you see, I was behind in the digital security era. So from there, I got in contact with the DPI people, Miss Noreen and Mr. Fred. They kept training me in using digital security and other technology platforms. Those trainings helped me in pursuing my bachelor's in social work and social administration, where we used to study online. But without their help, I don't think I would make it, because we'd make many lessons online, doing exams online. So digital security helped me from there. Per now, I also trust myself, like if something concerning digital security, I can try and do it. In our district and the region, sometimes I also get some people to ask me, Irene, how can I do this? What do I do after facing this? Like of recent, I got a friend who was hacked, and she was asking me, what should I do? And I was so proud that I was able to direct her to get back her account. Now I use digital platforms like Canva for designing office posts where I work. We no longer find ourselves paying for the designers because we are training in using digital security tools. So now I use Canva to design posts, certificates, and other things for office. So it is helping me in my journey, and also helped me to finish my studies. At work, now I'm the IT specialist and the communication, and I also deal with some parts of the communication. So from the trainings I got on digital security, they are helping me to work on my job. So I'm so happy that I was trained, and I'm now a digital rights advocate. And now in our region, I was also chosen by Women of Uganda Network as a TOT of the online GBV and intersection of gender and technology, where I was able to train 300 girls and women in Kabare and Ruchiga to raise awareness on online gender-based violence, and in case someone faces that, where he or she can report. So I'm so happy that from behind I was illiterate about digital security, and now at least I know what to do, and I can also help others.
All right. Thank you. Thank you very much, Irene, for sharing that beautiful story. And I love the way that you bring it out with very clear examples of what has worked over time. One thing that you mentioned very critically is the use of strong passwords. I want to understand from you, what is an example of a strong password, or if you say a strong password, what exactly are you referring to?
Yeah, when I say use of strong password, this is where you find that we set passwords of our accounts, different passwords and strong ones. A strong password, I mean, this is the password where you find that it contains uppercase, lowercase, characters, and numbers. So, and sometimes I guide my fellows. The strong password you can even use in our local language because it is very hard for someone to guess your local language, or if you use uppercase, lowercase, characters, and numbers, it will be hard for someone to think or to know if you use this uppercase. Now, what is the lowercase you added, or the number you put, or characters? And also, I I I want to tell the participant that we should avoid using these passwords of our names, that our years. Someone can guess that password because when you put your name, the hackers or the people that want to access your platform, they will first think of your name. Maybe someone's password is her name, years, or the year of birth. So that is how I refer as strong password.
All right, thank you very much, Irene. I'm already thinking of a word in the local language that I can have as my password, and you share it very clearly. So thank you very much once again for sharing. So combination of characters, uppercase and lowercase, and digits gives you a very strong password. And there are sites online that you can actually use to check the strength of your password. I think um, somehow along this webinar we'll share that link just in the chat box, such that people are able to check. For example, how strong is their password? You can just type it on that engine, and it will tell you how long it would take, for example, a computer to crack that password. I want to bring on board Imi, because Irene has talked about a very important aspect, the role that DPI played in empowering her, the trainings that she underwent. If you can just, if you, Imi, can just go ahead and tell us how important is digital literacy in empowering women, and what steps can be taken to improve digital education for girls globally. The importance of digital literacy in empowering women. Imi, can you hear me? Maybe I'll go through the question again.
We
Immaculate.
can now hear
Yes.
you.
Okay, thank you very much. I want to bring on board Immaculate, if you can hear me. Let me go through the question again, because Irene has taken us. Irene has taken us uh, very, very keenly on the role that DPI played in as far as empowering her through the trainings. If you could just add on to that, in your own opinion, how do how important is digital literacy in empowering women, and what can be done to improve on the digital education for the girls globally? Yeah, I think this. If you can hear me, Irene, you could take on this question.
Yes. Yes, Mark, thank you for this opportunity again. Uh, let me talk.
I think we lost you, Irene.
You're not
Okay.
hearing me? Hello, Mark. Hello.
We can hear you. We can hear you. Irene, speak up. We can
Okay.
hear you.
Okay. Now, when I talk about the importance of digital literacy in empowering women, many services nowadays like banking, healthcare, education are increasingly in digital. So when we empower women to know about digital literacy, they can confidently use smartphones, computers, access these services, which enables them to connect with opportunities that would otherwise be out of reach, such as online learning. There is also this internet provides information on health, education, employment, and legal rights. So when we empower women with digital rights, this is where we find that we are minimizing the challenges the community and women are facing in the community, where they will find that they can access some information about health, which can help them to make informed decisions about their well-being, finances, and personal growth. For example, they can learn about reproductive health, legal protections against gender-based violence, and also getting job opportunities online. Digital literacy also includes knowing how to be safe online. Women in our communities face risks of cyberbullying, online harassment, and fraud, where you find that women, though they face this, they don't know about them, how are they, and what to do in case they meet them. So when we empower them with digital skills, they will know if I'm hacked, what can I do? If I face online harassment, where do I go or where do I report to? This is where they will know how to set strong passwords, recognize scam, and adjust their private settings on their online account. Another thing, digital platforms like social media, online courses, offer women opportunities for self-improvement and financial independence. With digital literacy, women can network, access free education resources, and even start online business, where you find that they are not even developing themselves alone, but also our communities are developed. Because when someone is developed, even others can either learn from her, or when her family is developed, even the community is developed. And another
Right.
thing,
Carry on.
yes,
Just carry on.
digital class also allows women to engage in online discussions, participate in advocacy campaigns, and raise awareness about issues affecting them. Through social media and digital platforms, women can amplify their voices, connect with like-minded individuals, and influence policy changes that promote gender equality. To add on, women with digital literacy can access online health resources and mental health support. This is particularly crucial for those in underserved areas where healthcare services are limited. So when we count digital literacy, it enables them to seek medical advice, schedule appointments, and learn about reproductive and maternal health. Also, digital literacy
Just as you summarize.
creates employment opportunities, where you find that
Yes, Irene.
access online, which brings out employment opportunities in our community.
All right. I want to thank you. I want to thank you, Irene, for taking us through that. And just in case you have questions in regard to particular questions, for example, as follow-ups or supplement on something, I want to encourage you colleagues, just put it in the comment section, and we'll have those questions. I want to thank you once again, Irene, and as we wait for your questions, ladies and gentlemen, allow me just move on and bring on board Immaculate, because I want her to share examples of innovative solutions that have successfully helped bridge the divide for the girls and the women. So if Immaculate, you can carry on and just give us examples of innovative solutions in our community that have helped the women and the girl child to bridge the digital divide. Immaculate, are you there? All right, thank you very much. Let me go through the question again, Immaculate. I just want you to share. I want you to share examples of innovative solutions or initiatives that have helped to bridge the gap for the girl child and the women. Immaculate Leka.
Thank you. I hope you can hear me.
Loud and clear.
Can you hear me? Okay, thank you. My name is Lake Immaculate. I work for Bosco Uganda, based in the northern Uganda. And I really appreciate DPI for having this opportunity to share with us here on this topic. Getting back to the question, I would request that I put off my video because my internet is warning me. It's not really that supportive. So yeah, some of the initiatives that have bridged the digital divide for women, I have personally seen with my work here in the northern Uganda. One of it is having digital literacy and security trainings, targeting women as a group. I think over the years, when I've been doing digital literacy for groups combined, both men and women, I have also realized a lot of challenges with that. Most of the times, women do not feel comfortable learning this, especially among the men, especially in the rural communities where my work has basically been. They don't have the confidence even to ask questions on what they have not understood, because I would call it fear, how the men will look at them. But then having them being trained, just women as women groups, I've seen it build some confidence in them to learn and also ask questions. And then another initiative has been also bringing the technology closer to the women. For example, what we do at Bosco is to install ICT community centers within the rural communities using solar power. We realize that these communities do not even have access to the national grid, but for us, we try to extend this the technology to the women in these communities using solar power, and they are able to actually spare time and come to the community ICT centers and learn something or or do a research, or we even mentor them, the females, to train the other women within that community. So that is also another initiative I've seen work, using the females to train their fellow females and mentor their fellow females. This is, I think, basically some of the initiatives that I myself has experienced, and I've seen it work over time. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Immaculate, and it's very good that you share examples from the northern Uganda. I know that women in different parts of the country and different parts of the world face different challenges. So I wanted to understand from you that how can we ensure that our efforts to bridge the digital divide, given that you highlighted on some of the things that you're doing in northern Uganda, how can we ensure that these efforts are inclusive of women from diverse background? And here I'm talking about women with disability, women from rural areas, or even the marginalized communities.
Yeah, thank you. I feel the inclusion should begin all the way from the technology design. How the technology is being designed, sometimes leave out some of these people, especially the people with disability. So if we could look at how we can modify how we design technologies. For example, maybe on a computer having like screen readers or voice to text options or sign language interpretation or captioning to cater for some of these disabilities. And then also, most times for us, we do digital literacy trainings or programs, but as an organization, as individuals, but we tend to not to include this, how to handle some of the, how to handle people with disabilities or women with disabilities. I think also it is high time that we as we are planning or doing our digital literacy programs, we could partner with some of the organizations that handle specifically digital, that handle specifically people with disabilities, so that we ensure training materials or we adapt some of the training materials for learning of these people with disabilities. One of the key things I have noted, especially with the women in the rural communities, is the issue of language, language barrier. And most of these people are really not well versed with the English language. And as we know that technology, it is the English people who brought it to us, and it is easier explaining English. But then if we want to have this inclusion, we need to also, I would say, translate, but also build digital content in the various local languages to fully cater for these people, especially the women in the rural communities or the marginalized communities. From my experience, we have also seen it work. When we go to the rural communities, most of these people we train, most of them have not been educated, and English has been a challenge. So we try to actually explain everything in the local language, and we have also translated our training guide, training materials, training manuals into the local language. So they are able actually to cope up. There's a point in one of the communities that we work with, there was some girl, she was in P5, and English was really a big challenge, and there was a colleague who has not even stepped in the class, but she really had the vigor, the urge to learn computer. The next time, after training them, the next time I went there, I was so amazed seeing this this young woman who has not even studied, but was able to also train another person in the local language. And then another thing is another way how we can ensure this is creating a digital safe spaces for these women from the marginalized communities, for the people with disabilities. We all know that a lot of things happen, especially online in the digital spaces, harassment, bullying. And then we have to advocate and create safer spaces for these people to use these digital devices, or to be in these digital spaces without any fear. And then I think almost going to the last, I would think involving women or these categories of people, the disabilities, the marginalized communities in the design of digital solutions. For example, I would maybe relate this to doing a consultation, especially when developing programs and policies for this category of people. We would actually find exactly what we could include to have the inclusivity of all of them in the digital programs or solutions that we have. And then lastly, ensuring affordability and economic accessibility of digital devices. Not only the digital devices, for example, maybe the government subsidizing the cost of the digital devices so that these people are able to, and maybe also offering free trainings or low-cost digital literacy training programs, and encouraging financial, I would say financial inclusion for this, for the women in the rural areas, and then the marginalized communities, as well as the people with disabilities. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Immaculate. And a few things that came very, very clearly from your discussion, your sharing, is that one, the use of local language to bridge the divide, and also involving people when we are designing programs for them, because as the saying goes, there is nothing for us without us. So that even is a very, very important aspect that now takes me to the next thing, because if we're using the local language, for example, I want to understand from you, Christine, what can technology companies do in addressing the digital divide? How can they better support women in technology? Like Immaculate has told us, we could use the local language. And we can't use the local language if the technology companies don't pick up the interest, for example, to translate material on these devices and other things that I want you to share. What role can technology companies play in bridging the digital divide? Over to you, Christine.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you very much, Mark. I want to extend my heartfelt gratitude to DPI for creating this platform for the women to discuss such crucial topics. Back to Mark's question, Ugandan tech companies have a lot of power and responsibility to close the digital divide. They can create more inclusive hiring practices, invest in scholarship programs for women in tech, and design products with accessibility in mind. For instance, MTN has a digital skills program that trains women and youth on digital tools. And I've seen women gain from it, because MTN goes all around the country, not just in the urban areas. It usually targets the women in rural areas, and that's a really good initiative. Also, Rock Telecom has piloted affordable internet packages for the underserved areas. For example, it offers packages on a daily. You can use 1,200 shillings to access the internet. Then weekly, you use 6,400 shillings, and then monthly, you can just load 24,000. That's really affordable, even for someone who is in the rural area, in my understanding. And now PTL is also working on tailored digital solutions for small businesses, many of which are women-led. It's centering women's needs, and Ugandan tech companies can lead the way to a more balanced digital future. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And now this actually brings something to my mind. I came to realize that I think in the whole of East Africa, in Uganda, we are paying the most for internet bundles. We are paying the most to access, for example, satellite television. And technology companies can also go a long way in bridging the divide by making it accessible. Because if you see right now, if we take average of, for example, the income of men to women, we may realize that men are earning more or have more incomes. So how do we bridge the divide if, for example, the cost of internet is very high, as you've said? And once again, I want to thank you very much, Christine. For colleagues who have just joined us, I really want to welcome you aboard, and we'll have a small session for Q&A. So in case you have a question, just feel free to put it on the chat, and I'll be reading those questions aloud. And I want to bring on board. I want to bring back Irene. Irene, I know you shared earlier on the challenges that you faced as an individual, and I want to give you, I want to bring you back on board. If you can expound for us, what are the main barriers? What are the challenges that women are facing in accessing digital technology and internet, particularly in our communities? I know you shared already, but if you could just go ahead to expound on it a little more so that we understand the challenges that women are facing in accessing the digital technology. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Mark. Women are facing a lot of challenges accessing digital technology and internet, especially in our local communities. One, women are denied to access digital tools. Here, I'll give an example. My friend who is a wife, someone lost a phone. So in that process, he started using the tab for her child. So later, the husband's phone also lost. So the husband has to pick that phone the wife was using for him to use it, because he can't be without a phone when the wife has one. So now the wife don't have access to internet because the husband took that backup phone she had. So in our communities, some women are denied access phones or to have full control of their phones. You'll be having a phone, let's say a smartphone, during the day when you're alone. But when your husband comes, he will be the one you hand over the phone, because now you'll be in the kitchen and he'll be controlling your phone. Yet as a woman or a girl, you should also be having a full potential to access and use a phone. Also, there is network and connectivity challenges. I'll give an example of our community in Kamwezi, where we are on border. You find that when you want access internet, You go to one place, even now it still exists. You go to one place to find a stable internet connection. You have to first move to that place. So you find that it is challenging. You can't reply to an emergency. There's also social and cultural norms. In some communities, women's use of digital technology is stigmatized with societal expectations, where you find that a woman should not enjoy those digital rights by accessing digital platforms, because for her she has to remain behind and do home chores, which is also affecting women and girls. There is digital literacy gaps. In our communities, some women own phones or they have phone, but they don't know how to use it, how to protect themselves. They don't know how to get their opportunities. So they be having them, you find they are just maybe on TikTok to look for the praise songs. So for them, they know that to get a phone, you'll be watching videos and download new songs. So they have little knowledge on how they can acquire knowledge skills using technology and internet. There is also cost of mobile data and devices. In our local communities, there is high cost of mobile phones and internet data. This is why I find that when you go in town, the phone you get may be at 300. In our community, you may be getting it at 450. So you find that things are expensive, and also data to get it and load it. It is also another challenge. If you don't have data and you get an emergency, you have to wait to first move around, like where I use like a transport of 1,000 or 2,000 to access mobile money agents to get mobile data. We also have dependency on male family members, where you find that our girls and women are over depending on men to get some opportunities. For example, men controlling their digital devices. If you want to load, you ask him, I want to load data. You give me some money for that. So you find that he's the one controlling you, but though you're not accepting, but he's the one controlling you, you find it hard when he's not there. You cannot access internet or technology platforms. So women in our societies face those challenges, and also there is gender-based violence. So many women are denied access to mobile phones due to restrictive gender norms, with some experiencing violence or control from partners and family members, who also believe that women should not own or use digital devices. So some women fear to face gender-based violence because they know if I buy a phone, they'll ask me, where did you get this phone? Why did you get it without permission? So they lose morale, or they fail to access technology because they fear to meet gender-based violence in their families. Also, lastly, our women and girls fear to meet online harassment, where you find that some men they want to make us fear, like, if you don't do this, I'll post you online. If you don't do this, I'll post these pictures of yours or the videos of yours. So I find that our girls are fearing to go online because they will be posted, or they fear to be harassed. So they keep in that denial behind. You find them failing to access internet. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Irene. And just on the cost of devices, I've seen phones. My Luganda vocabulary is very small, but there are phones where they say Sasula and Pola, and you realize you're paying double the price of the device. And then the other one is the men are holding ransom of the photos of the women. And as you say very loudly, if you don't do this, I will post the photos. Now, I want to bring on board Immaculate. What role can the men do to ensure that there is digital inclusion for the women?
Thank you. I think men really play a crucial role in supporting and ensuring digital inclusion of the women. And the active involvement can actually help break the societal barriers, promote equal access, and create environment where women can thrive in the digital world. I think one of the things that men can do is advocating for equal access to technology. Especially the men in leadership position can really advocate for policies or initiatives that prioritize women's access to digital tools. For example, pushing for affordable internet access, and then pushing for community training programs tailored for women, and then also pushing for government support towards digital inclusion of the women. Then also, I would think men also play a big role in challenging the gender stereotypes. These gender stereotypes, I would say, basically stems out from the men, but they themselves can also play a big role in challenging it by encouraging the women, the girls to explore the digital spaces, to pursue career in the tech, and also encouraging them to believe in their abilities to succeed in the digital world. Then also the men have to play a big role in sharing their digital knowledge and skills with the women. So I would say the digital experts, the male digital experts can actually mentor and train women in their families, workplaces, communities, with the knowledge and the skills. And this helps to build the confidence of the women to actually thrive in the digital space. And then also supporting the men, also supporting maybe the female tech entrepreneurs with the resources that they need to actually grow in that business, or also collaborating with them and promoting the women-led initiatives and businesses, but also contributing resources to maybe sponsor some of the community programs, digital programs that are for women, or also sponsor women to maybe study or pursue career in the digital space. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much, Immaculate. I see we have about 10 minutes to wrap this up. I want to, now thinking advocacy, I want to bring on board Christine. Christine, do you think there are specific policies or advocacy efforts that organizations or even the government can prioritize in order to enhance the digital access for women? If you can take us through in the next few minutes.
Thank you, Matt. For example, government should promote affordable internet access and also subsidize
Are you
digital
away from your microphone? We're struggling to hear you.
I'm sorry, let me try again. Can you hear me now? Am I clear now?
Yeah, it's fair there.
Yeah. Okay, thank you, Mark. So the government should promote affordable internet access and also fund women-focused sex education in Uganda. For instance, UCC has launched programs to expand rural connectivity, and organizations like Policy advocate for gender-inclusive policies. With the Policy and UCC coming together, the government can build digital hubs in underserved areas, train educators in digital literacy, and enforce laws against online harassment. Partnerships between the NGOs, private sector, and the public institutions can also create a robust framework for systematic change, ensuring every woman has the opportunity to thrive digitally. Yeah, thank you.
Right, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Christine. And ladies and gentlemen, I once again want to really thank you for being part of this. But before we can get to hear from you, colleagues who have been following this session since we started, I just want to hear from Christine what are her final or future plans uh, in terms of technology is concerned, and maybe just to even put it better for you, Christine, what is your vision for a world where digital access is equitable for all women?
Thank you, Mark, once again. Now, future vision is more of a world of equitable digital access for women. Imagine a Uganda or a world where every woman, regardless of her location, background, or abilities, can access and use technology to improve her life. She can learn, connect, work, and live without barriers. And to get there, we must start now, building supportive communities, challenging biases, and creating technology that fully serves everyone. Each step counts. Mentoring a young girl, donating an old laptop, advocating for better policies, or simply encouraging the women around us to explore the digital world. Together, we can shape a future where digital access is not a privilege, but a right for all Ugandan women. That's a simplest vision that I have, or that we have for all the women around us. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Christine. Colleagues, I think we are doing wonderfully as far as time is concerned. And I want to open up this session for in case you have any questions, you have anything to supplement on, this is the time for you. Just raise up your hand or put that comment in the chat section, and we'll be in position to respond. So in case you joined in late, I have on the panel, I have Christine, who is an IT and data analyst. She's as well a security specialist. I also have Immaculate Eka, if I pronounce that well. She's an IT expert. And then I have Ninsima Irene, who is a digital rights advocate. I want to welcome all of you. And from you, Diana Biali, you say it's been lovely from Immaculate. Male involvement as allies in digital training is very crucial, and I entirely agree with you, Diana. So in case you have any questions, this is the time for you. Just raise up your hand, or you can put it in the chat section. We'll be we'll be very happy to respond to those questions. And once again, I just want to highlight on the work that DPI does. DPI is very dedicated to promoting and protecting human rights, good governance, and the rule of law by empowering human rights defenders like yourself through capacity building and strategic support. So feel free at any point to reach out to DPI, or you can check out their website, Defenders Protection Initiative.org, and you can always send in an email for support in terms of digital security and other support for human rights defenders. So this is the time for you. If we have any questions, kindly just raise up your hand or put it in the chat section. We'll be very happy to respond to those questions. And as well, you can follow DPI on different social media platforms, such that when we have engagements as meaningful as this, you can always be updated on what is happening. So if we have any questions, just raise up your hand and we'll be very happy to answer them. Harriet asks if she missed a lot. Thank you for joining, Harriet. This is a recorded session. I think I'll ask our experts who have been just making this session possible, if they can share with you the recording. I think it will be very, very helpful. Yeah, Kukunda, this is the time to ask questions. If anybody has a question, just put it through in the chat section. I'm happy to respond. I have you. Yes, just take it away.
Okay, can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, so any questions I had, the speakers, very lovely speakers. They have actually educated us and given us information, and I would say ways to move forward. Thank you very much, Immaculate, Irene, and Christine. So what I have is a series of comments, and I'll just jump into it. So Irene talked about how she uses AI tools to generate Canva, and she also mentioned AI courses, and she also mentioned online learning. So I happen to, amongst other things, also be an artificial intelligence consultant. And for the benefit of everybody, there is a free AI course for beginners. And the deadline to register is in 2 days. So I'm just going to post the link here. I promise you it will change your life completely. So Irene, that is also going to make your work so much better, because it looks like the work you do, AI and visualization will really help you a lot. Then there was something else. What else did Irene say? That was it. And then for Immaculate, yes. So persons with disabilities, I would just like to also educate, so to speak, that Android phones have options. For example, if you're blind, you can use an app called VoiceOver or TalkBack. And if, for example, you are hard of hearing, if you are deaf, let me write this for people who want to for people who want to go home with it, because it's very important. And if you are deaf, this is important for people like us who hold large gatherings. So there is an AI tool called Notebook LLM that transcribes directly on a notebook, like a word page. So you can use your projector to make it big, and as you're speaking, it is transcribing, and you don't need an interpreter. You have someone who is already doing it for you. Now, fear of harassment, that was brought up by Immaculate and by Christine. So there are 3 offices that you need to pay attention to. One is the Personal Data and Protection Office. The second is the Cyber Crimes Unit at Kampala Metropolitan. And the third, as Christine mentioned, is UCC. Now, the Personal Data Protection Office has unlimited resources, and they work in tandem with the Cyber Crimes Unit, and they do take action. And Uganda Communications Commission as well is kind of sidelined. People aren't using Uganda Communications Commission very well. So Jimmy Haguma is a man that you can approach. You can just go to his office, and he can take a case immediately. He will make a phone call to whoever is harassing you. If it is out of Uganda, out of Kampala, they are also able to assist. So on the ground, there is no help. But as long as you have these 3 offices here in Kampala, they can give you all of the assistance that you need. And next, Christine talked about, we've said a lot about the cost of internet. I would like to throw this to the Digital Security Alliance. You have the ability. Let's not just keep saying, "Oh, internet is expensive." This. You have the ability to start changing things right now. You are a strong alliance. Whether it means approaching. So what you can do is, for example, start with mapping out an analysis. Like you map out areas that have internet, no internet, poor internet, low internet, and you have a case study, so to speak. You have your ammunition, and then you approach the members of parliament of those areas with concepts or with ideas, or you have a meeting with them, like, what can we do? Because this cannot continue. It is unacceptable. It is 2025, and Uganda is being left behind. People have already moved artificial intelligence. We are still struggling with WhatsApp. That's just not cool. And I want to throw the ball to the Digital Security Alliance to take responsibility and do what they have to do in a political capacity or informally. You can approach, some people are good to approach informally to talk to them about this, but begin the process of lowering internet costs. Someone mentioned, who was it? It was Immaculate, who mentioned government. Can we please stop saying the word government? First of all, it is full of old dinosaurs. They don't care. We are the government. In fact, we are not the government. We are middle-aged. Some of us are middle-aged. We are entering the dinosaur era. The younger people, we are the government. And we should forget about those people sitting in those chairs unless, DSC approaches them and start changing things. And for this, I want to focus on men in particular. We have talked a lot about how men can play a role, how men should support, how men should do this. Can everyone see what Godfrey Kutesa is doing? Godfrey Kutesa is a man who has a platform where he raises boys to be dinosaurs, basically, keeping the old trend going. Men need to start doing what women are doing. We have women helping women, women NGOs everywhere. We don't have the same thing for men. Men talking to boys, men reaching out to boys, men speaking with parents about how they need to change in this world. Because the men, I promise you that the boys being raised today or being, mentored by the Godfrey Kutesas, they are not ready for the girls and the women. They are not. And it is up to men to stop talking about we can do this, and start doing. For example, Digital Security Alliance. I used to be a part of it, but I noticed that at every single event, the table was full of men. Men completely took charge of everything. All the money went in the men's pockets. The women were invited and given transport allowance and stuff like that. And some of us, like myself, are very pushy. So maybe that is how I would get into things. But it got a bit frustrating. And I got tired of seeing only men at the table. And this is at the Digital Security Alliance. So it starts with you. You need to up your game in the work that you are doing. You need to work with women deliberately instead of men. And also, men happen to listen to men. So we need progressive men talking to dinosaur men, not women appealing to men. You can help us, you can do this, you can do that. No, men have power. So we need progressive men to speak to the dinosaur men. We need men to push for change. For example, at Digital Security Alliance, when you are, for example, applying for funding for something, are you including women in it? Are you reaching out to women to put in it? Because from what I saw, it was a bunch of about 5 men, period. And that's one of the reasons why I became disillusioned with the Digital Security Alliance. Let's be real here if we want to make change. And that's what I have to say. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Lindsay, for those very, very insightful comments. And I think two things that I pick very, very keenly from you. One is, who is the government? Because even here, government officials saying government will do this. And you encourage us to just act and stop calling government all the time. And then the other thing is for the DSA to come up with a position paper, which is a very, very good submission from you. I thank you. And then I have Harriet, who is saying a lot should be done in fighting the gender stereotype on digital access, as most times ladies interest themselves in exploring some digital tools because beg your pardon, most times ladies don't interest themselves in exploring some digital tools because of the old beliefs. Thank you so much. All the beliefs of women cannot have smartphones, cannot use good devices, and you're saying we should get away from that. And then I have Gracious, who says, I want to appreciate the work that you're doing as DPI. Digital security is very important for everyone and CSOs because of the sensitive information that they deal with. Your question goes to Madam Irene. What role can government policies and regulations play in promoting digital equity and inclusion? What role can government policies and regulations play in promoting digital equity and inclusion? All right, thank you very much. So Irene, you have a question, and then we can wrap this up if we don't have any. Maybe if I can read the question again. What role can government policies and regulations play in promoting digital equity and inclusion? Over to you, Irene. Do we still have Irene on the call? All right. I think Christine talked or handled something in regard to policies. Christine, if you can take on that and maybe just to re-echo as well what you had said in terms of policies and regulations in promoting digital equity and inclusion. Christine, can you hear me? All right, I think I don't know if Christine can hear me, but clearly we know that government's role is to create an enabling environment. And if we talk digital equity, we know that government is supposed to, one, put in place policies, for example, that make sure that women and men are accessing the internet, they're using the internet in an equitable manner. And we've seen even laws that are made in parliament, for example, the Computer Misuse Act is one example that I can give. And when one of the colleagues was presenting, she mentioned clearly what sometimes the men do, going ahead, for example, to have photos of women. And this is where the Computer Misuse Act comes in to make sure that everybody is enjoying the digital space in a good manner. And then the other one is policies, for example, that govern telecommunication companies. And I think this is, in my own opinion, this is where government has not helped us much. That the consumer is not being protected in terms of how much are we paying for the internet. And then reforms on education. We've seen, I don't know if as of now, computer is compulsory in schools, but I would say that policies, for example, for computer literacy and training programs by government would really help to ensure that men and women are accessing accessing trainings on computer as well. And then what I would say is also having hubs for funding innovation centers like we talked about in the start. I've not seen government do this much, but through collaboration with other government and technology companies, uh, I think in Midwestern region, I saw the Prime Minister a few years launch an innovation center that was supporting, I think, something to do with digital literacy in that region. So just to hint on what government can do, all right? And I thank you again, Lindsay, for encouraging us to sign up for the AI course. And actually if people want to know more about the benefits of the course, they can follow you at Lindsay Kukunda, and you share the link again. The registration, as a reminder, closes in 2 days. All right, you have direct contact with officials in the PDPO, cyber crimes at UCC, And people can reach out to you at lindsay.kukunda@gmail.com. And thank you so much, Lindsay, for sharing all this valuable information. I, for one, will be in touch in case I want to inquire on anything. So I really want to thank all of you for joining the webinar this morning. And I want to give opportunity to the ladies on the call, starting with you, Irene, in a minute, your final remarks. If Irene can't hear me, Immaculate, your final remarks in a minute.
Thank you, Lindsay, for your insightful sharing with us. So when women have access to technology, they have the power to innovate, lead, and create change. So as we have celebrated the Women's Day, let's all commit to breaking these barriers and creating a future where all the women can connect, learn, and thrive through technology. So an empowered woman is an empowered community. So let's make digital access a reality for all. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Immaculate. Christine, your final remark.
Thank you, Mark, and thank you, Lindsay. Just adding on to the role of government policies and regulations, like what the government can do. It can come up with policies that reduce internet taxes, expand infrastructure to rural areas, and mandate digital literacy in schools that can transform access for the underserved women. I'll give an example. Now, the national ICT policy emphasizes expanding ICT services to rural areas, and initiatives like the Rural Communications Development Fund work to extend connectivity. Regulations that promote online safety and combat digital harassment can make the internet a safer space for women. And additionally, governments can partner with private tech companies and accelerate innovation and provide more opportunities for women to access and benefit from technology. Imagine a world where any girl, any woman can access and use technology to improve their life. She can learn, connect, work, and lead without any barriers. And to get there, we must start now together in our communities. Thank you.
Right, thank you very much. Irene, can you hear me now? Your final remark?
Yes, Mark, I can hear you. For me, my final mark, I believe that ensuring digital education for girls and women is a key to breaking barriers and creating equal opportunities in education, employment, and leadership. Yeah, digital literacy empowers opportunities and also essential services. So let's all empower girls and women to access and have control over digital devices. Thank you.
Right, thank you very much, Irene. And I see you, my friend, Pastor Barnabas from Peak Corruption out of Uganda. Thank you so much. You say it has been nice attending this celebration virtually. All right, thank you very much. And you thank me as well for sharing the digital knowledge. And thank you once again, Lindsay, for saying that this was a great meeting. It would be nice to have a solution-oriented webinar so that we can take action. I entirely agree with you, and I'll be looking forward to that as well. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, following Leah, you say very informative session, and you thanking DPI the organizers. I want to join you in thanking the Defenders Protection Initiative for organizing this. Monday David, thank you so much for joining. And Christine Birunji, thank you. Thank you, everyone. The ladies who have joined the session, I want to thank you and wish you a very, very good afternoon. God bless you. God bless Uganda.
Mark.
Yes, please.
I think there's someone in the chat who really wanted to ask, but was not possible.
All right, Monday says he will reserve his questions because it may trigger serious questions. All right, no problem. Monday, you can reach out to me and we can have those questions answered. I thank you all.
Yes, I ask now.
Okay, if there's one burning one, please.
Well, my name is David Monday, and I'm here in Sabay, and excited about this new concept of digital security. Quite, it's for elites, I may say so, who so much interact with the digital space. In the course of discussions that I was following, and someone brought on an issue of financial literacy, and I was looking at the marginalized Bennett indigenous women. Of late, there was a program to do with GROW, I think generating cross opportunities for women entrepreneurs, organized by Ministry of Labor, Gender and Social Development, Ministry of Gender, Labor and Social Development. And there was a special program for the marginalized communities. But I think this is done online. This is done with the financial institutions and not a lot of information, or it is very inadequate information that has gone to the women. And so they are missing out even on the very serious billions of money that the government is investing. These women have capability in micro business, small businesses, and it was really perturbing me, how will they be included in the financial literacy program? Many of these conversations need to come to the ground. And of late, I see a lot of escalation in the women nudity. There are a lot of nude pictures. You go to Twitter, it is promoting pornography. Majority are women. My question is, how would we then deal with this unethical setting? It's taking a different shape. Shall we leave it to continue if we must address the women's rights in a more upright manner? And similarly, I may say, how best can the women utilize the digital space or digital gadgets to increase their economic base? Of late, and in towns, in the malls, in the restaurants, the girls, the ladies, the women who work around there or who stay there, they have these very good gadgets. They have the iPhones, which I have never touched one for myself. They have better gadgets. But in actual sense, they are economically poor. They don't have money. They utilize the same gadgets to really extort money from men, to pay for theater, to pay for lunch, to pay for what? And this even lures them into sex, and you hear things about femicides and so on. We have to address that as we handle these things. Like I said, my questions may trigger more other questions, so may make the discussion to be irritating, but then I have chosen to reserve this, but then, I wasn't still comfortable. Anyway, I want to appreciate the discussion. It is not my first time to go through the digital security and protection and so on, but this is appearing new every other moment. I attend such a class, such a discussion. And thank you very much, Mark, for moderation. And thank you to all the discussants. You've made it absolutely great. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Bwana David. And really, you said your questions could trigger conversations, and this would have been really very good if we had it. Maybe if we had enough time, and I want to really thank you now. A few things that maybe I'll just hint on. One, David comes, and even myself, from the Bennett community, where we have the marginalized community where access to internet or even gadgets is very hard. And he's saying for the GROW program, women are being encouraged to interface online, but they don't have the gadgets. And this way you see that women are left out in government programs. So this goes again to what Lindsay encouraged us, that let's have a position paper, for example, as the Digital Security Alliance, that clearly stipulates women access to internet and maybe technology, uh, how it affects women in accessing government programs, for example. So I think for that, a position paper and even other advocacy efforts from the Digital Security Alliance will go a long way to help us. Increasing the economic base for women, I agree with you. And through some of the measures that have been mentioned, we can achieve that. And then the other issue is on the increase of nudity by mostly the women. We've seen that in most cases, people who are cloud chasing or people who are trying to gain a big gathering on social media are using nudity, for example, as one of the tools to attract following, to attract the men. And I think advocating for strong laws, strong cyber laws will really help us to curb this. And then the other one is I saw in Kenya, if you just go on YouTube and check BBC, something to do with TikTok and Kenya, where a young girl of, I think, less than 18 was lured on TikTok and later on sexually abused. So as parents, what are we also doing in as far as protecting our children is concerned? Do we monitor what they are doing online? Is also another very key thing. So government comes in here very handy, that if government, for example, in my opinion, sees that such and such a platform is really being misused in publicizing these nude pictures, why can't government come in and maybe put strong laws or even ban that platform, that until one, maybe you cover these images. I've seen it with Facebook, for example. You can't post like a photo of somebody who has been whose head has been cut, where Facebook is going to blur those images or even take down those images. So I think technology companies can also help us a lot in bringing down the rate at which those images are shared. I want to thank you. We've gone past time, and I look forward to seeing you again the next time. Have a very